All right, give it a little gas. Rev it up. Vroom, vroom. Welcome back. That's not good. Let's see if we could fix it. Okay, we got the car jacked up, and obviously this is our problem right here. Muffler on this is still original. It's got 140 something thousand miles on it. It's a 2002, I believe, this car, or 2003. This was changed once before, but it's pretty nasty looking. We are going to weld this. We'll figure out how. If we have to, we'll cut this off, cut that off, and put a piece of pipe in. Or I might be able to slip something maybe in here, try to re-weld it around it. We'll figure what we can do. That will be a quick, easy repair. That's not going to cost a lot of money. Now, last time the car was here, I had another problem with the exhaust, and that's what we're going to work on first. Let me show you what that is. Here's the engine pipe where it comes off of the motor. That spring is gone. The bolt head rusted away. So the only thing that's holding it now is the one on the other side still, and that's probably not going to be around much longer either. And this whole pipe will fall off. So we're going to change the bolt and spring set. I have a new gasket for underneath there, but we're going to change that one first, tighten it up, and if it's not leaking around here, we're just going to leave the that gasket that's there and then swap out this one too. So let's get started. We're probably going to have to use a blowtorch here just to heat some of those rusted nuts up on the top of that. If you don't have a torch, this job can be very, very difficult. So a little bit of heat always helps making these come apart. Got new studs and springs. And we got a new donut too. Might not use it, we'll see. The exhaust manifold does not have any threads in it. It just goes through a hole, and then the nut will tighten up against the other side, and the spring is putting tension on the flange, and that's where it actually allows to flex back and forth when the engine rocks when you're stepping on the gas. So the spring needs to be there and allowing some flexibility with the pipe. So we are going to heat up the nut that's on the top, grab it with a pair of vice grips, and unscrew it. Now, this one's a lot fatter than the original one. I think the original one was like a smaller diameter, so sometimes you have to make the hole a little bit bigger on the pipe for this to slide up and line up where you need. So let's see if we can get the nut out first. Like I said, we're going to have to heat it up with a torch to get it loose. You can use a propane torch. I'm going to be using an oxyacetylene torch. I heated up the nut and very carefully wiggled this with some vice grips. The nut is still stuck onto the manifold itself, but if we can get the nut out, the bolt out, sorry, all the way, that nut will pop off later because it's like firmly rusted to the manifold. So let's squeak this out. If you're lucky, it'll just break off when you're trying to get it off. Let's work on this now. All right, we got our rusted stud out, and here's the problem with aftermarket parts. The original one's really long. This one bottoms out right there. It's very difficult to get this in because it really needs that much more thread to grab. So we're gonna have to kind of push on the collapse this spring down a little bit more to get it to fit, push up on it and tighten it in. There is the old nut on the back of it. I already heated it up a lot, and you can't even really fit a wrench on it because it's not even any size anymore. It's disintegrated down to nothing. I'm debating whether we should knock it out. I think we're just going to tighten it up and see if it holds. If it holds, terrific. Then we'll work on the other one because that one is not much time left on that one either. Now you can bend the shield out of the way. I bent that one up to get a little more access, and then we'll just pull it back down, later on. If you really get stuck with this, trying to get these out, the only other thing would be to unbolt the entire exhaust manifold out, you know, and either break these off so you could pull the whole exhaust manifold out of the car to work on it. That would give you hours and hours of work to do. So try doing it this way. If you're desperate, you'll have to take the manifold off the car. We had just enough room to tighten that up. We left the old bolt in there, or the old nut in there. I started it up to see if it was leaking anymore. So now that it's tighter, it is sealed pretty good. We're going to change the other one now, and we are not going to do the donut at this point. So otherwise we'll have to clean that and chip that and chisel that other thing out. So let's heat up that nut on the top like we did, and hopefully this one will come out like the other one did. Be careful when you're doing this that you don't set something on fire. We've got the fire extinguisher standing by. A little heat goes a long way. I'm able just to back this out without having to cut or grind anything. So this is the way to go. Figure out how you could do it. Propane torch, oxyacetylene torch, whatever you can get your hands on. Okay, that's all tight. Ready to go another 140,000 miles. This stud probably would have rusted out in the next few months, and then the whole exhaust system fell off. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor. I'm not asking for much. Just a like and a subscribe. Very easy. Click, click. Now we got to fix the back of the exhaust now. Let's see what we're going to do with that. Okay, back to the back of the exhaust. This flange is really nice and solid on this original muffler still, so I don't want to cut this off. Not just yet. We're going to make an attempt to fix this. I'm going to move this around a little bit and grind this clean as possible. Then I got to dig around in my scrap pile and see if I have a pipe that will slip over this, and then we'll just kind of weld a new pipe to that, and then I can weld this over here to kind of repair this section for now. I think that would be the easiest way, even though this pipe was replaced probably not that long ago. It looks like it's pretty rusty in the front end of it too, so see if we can get that done. And while we have the welder out, I also saw that this thing over here busted off, rusted away. So we'll give that a little zip, hold that back in place so this isn't dangling around. Like I said, this is what happens when you live in the Northeast. Things get rusty. This isn't that bad. I've seen a lot worse than this, but let's get some welding done. We got all this ground clean as best as we could over here. Just used a little air grinder and die grinder. Now we got to figure out how we're going to fix this. Broke out our old trusty welder, and we have an assortment of old stuff cut off from other cars. I don't throw anything away just for this reason. What can we do to make this fit? I'm gonna take a wild guess saying that's too big. This, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'll go with this and this. This fits on the outside. Almost. That might be a winner right there. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Oh. Okay. I'm going to clean. It's got a little bit of a bend right there. We'll get a better section. Cut a little piece of this out so we could slip it on there, go to that. Or can we go inside? That's a little loose. Possibility. we will go with this. Let's get a fresh cut over here. Maybe cut off a piece about that long and grind this down and clean it. We got our little sleeve fit. Got to position this where we want. Bust out the welder, give it a few tack welds. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to clean a little bit more over here too, because I see that that's kind of dirty there. Let's get that done before we weld. We got our welder on the lowest setting, and this stuff is a pain in the butt to weld because it's rusty, it's thin. So you just have to go really slow and give a lot of spot welds all the way around, nice and slow. Hard part's going to be getting up onto the top. I still got to do up here, a little limited access to get up around there. So this is not award-winning welding. It's just get it done so it works welding. So we can, if it's a little big gap, just kind of tap this down with a hammer and work our way around. So we'll go around that and get that done, and then zap that little bracket that's broken too. That's welded on. My cousin said she heard some stuff rattling around. That might have been it, or might be this sway bar end link. Something else to do, so we got to swap that out also too. Well, let's start this up and see if it's nice and quiet now. That sounds much better. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Thanks again. I think we're lost. How do we get onto the golf course?